the field, Molly McGrath.
Thank you, Joe. Before the game, Matthew Stafford had a tough time summing up this roller coaster season, but stressed that he's most proud of how his team responded after that 1-7 start to the year, saying most teams would have shut it down and looked ahead to next year, but our group kept on fighting, and that is a testament to our coaching staff. Their positivity trickled down and affected the team. Calvin Johnson agreed, saying that this group is so close to where they want to be. They've been playing smarter in the second half of the season, and he admitted that this game is all about pride. They want to finish the year with a win and on a good note, because this may be the last time that this group suits up for Detroit. Joe?
Yeah, Molly, we talked about it a moment ago. There are rumors starting to swirl that this could be Johnson's final game with a $24 million hit the cap set to take on his contract this offseason.
That'd be something that obviously no Detroit Lions fan would want to see, Joe.
Chicago won the toss. Lions receive it. And it's Ameer Abdullah, the rookie out of Nebraska, the top kick returner in the NFL by average, taking the ball to the 23. That's where the Lions will begin. But Matt Stafford is putting up some of the best efficiency numbers of his career. And Brady, how about the last 7 games, what he's done? Yeah,
he's really improved his ability to take care of the football, putting his defense in better positions to help get stops. They're just playing better complementary football altogether as a team right now.
Been one of the NFL's top offenses since that early November bye week. 1 week after they made the offensive coordinator change. Their best game of the season came against this Bears defense. They start with a quick throw to Eric Ebron, the second-year tight end. Knocked out of bounds across the 25 by Harold Jones-Forte as we look at some of the impact players in today's matchup.
We talked about Calvin Johnson. He's been riddled with an ankle injury this season, but still been very productive. Another 1,000-yard season for him. And Theo Riddick, number 25 at running back, is most likely going to take over being one of the most productive running backs catching the football for the Detroit Lions.
2nd down and 4. The opening Lions drive of the game. Here is Abdullah with room off the right side for a first down into the arms of John Timu. Part of this Bears defense had shown solid improvements in the first year under Vic Fangio.
Vic Fangio's done a heck of a job with this group. Pernell McPhee came in as a free agent. He's adding some pressure off the edge. Kyle Fuller, their best cornerback for the Bears. He'll be matched up versus Calvin Johnson throughout the course of the day. And Willie Young, the old Detroit Lion, now playing for the Bears. He's really stepped up his play as well in the second half of the season.
He's one of the guys Matt Stafford talked to us about earlier this week is one of the big concerns on this Bears defense, along with Pernell McPhee and Lamar Houston rushing off of the edge. Picked up here to give him time to find Calvin Johnson for a first down inside the 45. It's a 25-yard gain to Johnson, who had his best game of the season the first time these teams met up.
Yeah, and really, Matt Stafford keyed in on anytime Calvin Johnson was matched up on Tracy Porter in that Week 6 matchup. Calvin Johnson had a heck of a game, and they seem to be able to find a way of completing some more of those deep shots downfield where Calvin Johnson can utilize his big body and his big frame to come down with the football.
166 yards in that first meeting. And he was quieted for a while with that ankle injury. Coming off his best game in more than a month, though, last week in the win against San Francisco. Abdullah's second carry. Crosses the 35. John Timu with another tackle. It's a pickup of 7, 2nd down and 3.
This game will be a little bit of a cat and mouse game between the offensive coordinators Jim Bob Cooter for the Detroit Lions and Adam Gase for Chicago. They both spent time together back in 2013, and they talked about before the game. They obviously know each other's system. Vic Fangio is going to try to do some things that he thinks that Adam Gase could tip off about Jim Bob throughout the course of the day.
Now it's worth noting it's a different system that Joe Lombardi was running when the Lions racked up 546 yards against the Bears in the first meeting this year. They get it in space to Abdullah and allow the rookie to use his speed to set up first down inside the 25. So Abdullah with a heavy load early on.
When this was made possible by the athleticism of the Detroit Lions offensive line. Watch the center here, Manny Ramirez, playing in for the injured Travis Swanson, and he's going to get outside. Basically help seal the edge and allow Ameer Abdullah to get to the first down.
The injured player is the former Bear Michael Ola. So they take a look. We'll take a break.
Today's game is sponsored by Southwest. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide.
Michael Ola replaced their right tackle by Cornelius Lucas in front of this first down and 10 and an efficient opening Lions drive. Jordan Bell checks in the game at running back. Stafford scanning the field, scrambling to extend the play and throwing out of bounds, chased by Lamar Houston, 2nd and 10.
And the Detroit Lions offense has been incredibly productive in the red zone this season. Well, this particular one, I'd give credit to the Chicago Bears secondary being able to cover downfield. You know, in that Week 6 matchup, they utilized Lance Moore early on in that game for a touchdown pass up the seam. Be curious to see how much they get him involved depending on what type of coverage the Bears decide to go with.
106 yards and a touchdown in that first meeting. It was his best game of the season. Best in the NFL once entering the red zone. On 2nd down, Golden Tate steps out of a tackle. In the 2nd year, Detroit Lion runs for 8 yards. John Timo with his 3rd tackle of this opening drive, and they set up 3rd and short.
You know, Golden Tate's one of the best in the NFL at getting yards after the catch, and it's in part because of how he started his football career. You know, as a youngster and throughout high school, he was a running back. When he went to Notre Dame to play college football, he was then transitioned to a wide receiver. But you could still see some of that skill set whenever he gets the ball in his hands. That's why Jim Bob Cooter likes to get those quick wide receiver screens or those short, quick passes to him to allow him to do the rest. It's Calvin Johnson at the top of the screen. It looks like it may end up being one-on-one coverage.
On 3rd and 2, Stafford looks the other way, and out of the backfield, it's Amir Abdullah setting up 1st down and goal for the Lions. Jones Corte pushes him out. We check in with Mike Hill for a game break.
All right, guys, Giants and Eagles could be the last game for Tom Coughlin. You know, Chip Kelly already fired. DeMarco Murray loving life without Chip. You knew he would. 54-yard touchdown run, his longest run of the season. And just like that, 7-0 Eagles on top in the first. Joe, great, thank you.
Yeah, more of the same for the Giants after they got rolled by the Vikings last weekend. 1st down and goal for Detroit, with 4 receivers into the short side of the field for Matt Stafford. And a timeout.
First charge timeout, Chicago. This will be a 30-second timeout.
John Hussey, our referee today, lets us know.
A lot of changes the Chicago Bears defense today. Eddie Goldman, nose tackle out of Florida State, he's out for today. Bruce Gaskin in to replace him. Mitch Unrein taking over another defensive end or defensive tackle, depending on the front they go with. The former Denver Bronco with John Fox, he brought him over with him, but a lot of changes up front in particular. It stresses any team at this point in time because Vic Fangio likes to rotate those guys and he likes to put them in either a 3-down or a 4-down front, so they've got to be flexible. Tough task for guys who don't get a ton of reps throughout the course of the year.
On 1st and goal from the 9, they shade a safety over Johnson to the top of your screen. Same look with 4 receivers into the short side for Stafford, who's got time to throw to the end zone for a touchdown. It's Tim Wright with his 2nd touchdown of the season. And the Lions couldn't have gotten off to a better start in their season finale.
Well, one of the things Jim Bob Cooter likes to do is he likes to utilize these bunches. And you see Tim Wright amongst a bunch of Chicago Bears defenders makes a nice move to get to the inside of Corte. And therein lies the touchdown. But this is part of the pressure Jim Bob Cooter utilizes. He gives you formations that you don't see all the time and makes you adjust to them in the opening drive of the game.
Stafford on that opening drive, 5 completions to 5 different receivers. That Prater's extra point is good. The Lions with an early 7-0 lead. They go 77 yards in 9 plays and cap it off with Wright's touchdown. It's 7-0. Bears offense to the field when you come back.
Today's game is sponsored by Bud Light, the official beer sponsor of the NFL.
Lions trying to complete a 6-2 second half of the season after that 1-7 start. Tim Wright with a touchdown catch on their opening drive to make it 7-0. Now the Bears will get it for the first time, trying to finish their season with back-to-back wins. After that stretch where they lost 4 of 5, they were on the fringes of a playoff discussion for a while before that late year slide. Deontay Thompson bringing it out of the end zone and getting popped shy of the 20 by James Ahedebo. So the Bears start their first possession of the day with Jay Cutler, his 7th season in Chicago, putting up the best passer rating of his career. Pretty stark differences in the interception numbers.
Yeah, he's really been taking care of the football, but it's also in part not only because of the offensive system, the change with offensive coordinator Adam Gase, but also the defense. The defense is playing better. They're holding opponents to less points, and they're not putting Jay Cutler in the position where he's forced to throw the football and forced to take more chances than he'd like.
And he is working with a ragtag bunch today. All the injuries decimating this passing game. They've leaned on the running game as of late. That's where they go on the first play with Matt Forte for a short gain. 100th tackle of the season for Stephen Tulloch. We look at the impact players for the Bears offense.
Well, if you'll notice the common denominator, 3 running backs in that group, and that's because they're decimated at the wide receiver position and tight end for that matter. No Zach Miller, who's playing for Martellus Bennett. Alshon Jeffrey's injured. Eddie Royal's out.
Back-to-back Forte runs. Run down from behind by Darryl Tapp, making the start today for Jason Jones, who's inactive. Here's the Lions defense key players.
Yeah, a key player in particular is the nickelback, Quandre Diggs, the rookie out of Texas. He's going to be matched up on Mark Mariani. And Mariani's the guy who Jay Cutler said he feels most comfortable with, and they'll be matched up in the slot. Ziggy Ansah off the edge. He's a disruptive guy, and they're going to have to either put a back or try to slide the protection to help out a little bit, because he's been causing some ruckus.
13.5 sacks, 1.5 short of the franchise record. First Bears drive of the game, 3rd down and 4. Cutler moving in the pocket, turns the shoulders and throws on the move for Rob Hausler, who's got it and has the Bears first down.
If you go back to that Week 6 matchup, Jay Cutler was very effective in that game because he was able to scramble around, pick up some first downs with his feet.
74 is reported as eligible. Number 74.
And buy more time, in particular on 3rd down, to get conversions.
Mariani, the motion man, on first down from the 31. They fake the Forte, get it to Mariani, who came into the league as a return specialist, has put up the best numbers of his career as a receiver this year. It's up and down this roster that there's guys injured as far as pass catchers go, tight ends and wide receivers. Of course, Kevin White, their 1st-round draft pick, never even played this year. Jeffrey inactive today. The list goes on and on. So they continue to ride that running game, and Matt Forte has got a first down.
They're riding that running game, and they're picking up the tempo. They're playing at a much faster pace, putting more pressure on the Detroit Lions defense, forcing them to have to deal with the different formations and getting lined up. And they're also using an additional tackle at a tight end position in Jermon Bushrod. So that's allowing them to be able to block the edge and allow Matt Forte to get outside for the big game.
Ran for 174 last week in the win at Tampa Bay, the most they had run for in a game since week 1. From the 43, Cutler gets rid of it quickly, and it's Cameron Meredith with a short gain, and Darius Slay brings him down quickly.
You know, talking with Jay Cutler this week before the game, he kind of talked about he wasn't necessarily sure what the strengths were of some of these guys because he hasn't had a chance to work with them throughout the course of the season.
Working quickly and against a 4-man rush, steps up and throws for a first down. Back-to-back receptions for Meredith. Undrafted rookie out of Illinois State with a first down and a gain of 16.
And Cameron Meredith is going to be isolated up on Darius Slay, and he's going to run a comeback route. Now, Slay has had a pretty productive year for the Detroit Lions. A lot of people thought he was a first-time Pro Bowler, but clearly giving a lot of cushion right there. We were down on the field before the game. The field conditions aren't too bad at this point in the season here at Soldier Field.
And they work out of the Wildcat with a first down inside the 40. It's Forte. Straight ahead for a short first down gain. Darryl Tapp with the tackle, and it's second down.
And again, these are some of the cat and mouse games we're going to see played between both staffs right now because of their familiarity with one another. Clearly, Adam Gase testing the Detroit Lions defense and defensive coordinator Terrell Austin to see if they're prepared for some of that, and trying to get all he can out of Matt Forte. The possibility of him becoming a free agent after this game.
Here's Forte again. Head of steam across the 30 to make it third down and a short 2. Tulloch was there for the tackle. Forte in his 8th season, 30 years old, out of Tulane. Left last week's game with a back injury. He's dealt with a knee injury this season. And folks around here tend to think that the emergence of Jeremy Langford has made Forte expendable.
Yeah, I think Langford as well as Kadeem Carey as well, and you might even see all three of them in the game at once at some point throughout the game.
Third down and 2 for the Bears. Forte again for a first down. Both offenses looking sharp on their opening drives. It's been a lot of Matt Forte.
And this is just a tremendous jump cut by Matt Forte. Watch, he presses the hole, jumps across as Patrick Omameh is able to push the defender to the side. And you see Forte, the savvy veteran, just finding the hole and getting upfield.
Now they split him out as a receiver on the top side of your screen. Bears trying to answer the Lions' touchdown on their opening drive. On 1st and 10, Cutler steps up in the pocket. Cutler takes off inside the 15, first down. Doesn't do it quite as much as he used to, but he still can when he needs to.
Yeah, and he's very good when he does decide to pull it down and run. And this is another factor when you look at the Detroit Lions pass rushes. They can't allow to rush too far upfield, otherwise they leave these running lanes for Jay Cutler. Something that, again, that he was very effective with in their Week 6 matchup that went into overtime.
Injury timeouts. Check in with Mike Hill for a game break.
All right, guys, Steelers need a win and a Jets loss to get into the playoffs. Ben Roethlisberger and the crew doing their part. Ben finding Heath Miller for the 2-yard score, his second of the season. 7-0 Steelers. It's scoreless right now in Buffalo between the Jets and Bills. Joe, Brady, back to you.
All right, they had that 3-game winning streak snapped last week with a loss to the Ravens.
And you talk about that Jets-Bills matchup. Bills with nothing to play for except for Rex Ryan, you know, trying to get some revenge back on the New York Jets. But I don't know. I think Ryan Fitzpatrick and Brandon Marshall, Eric Decker, those guys have been too hot.
Uzisa Abdul-Quddus, the safety, that left the field with an injury. In front of this first down and 10 from the 12. Play action. Cutler into the flats. Mariani. Nevin Lawson on him in a hurry on a short gain. Well, Lawson struggled last week. Gave up a touchdown. He's called for a few penalties. Was sharp there. Second down.
Yeah, and they tried to motion Mariani across the formation, kind of get him caught up in the whole mess off of the boot action fake, but Lawson wasn't fooled. Did a good job of getting across the field and making the open field tackle.
Already the 7th carry from Matt Forte, and he drives his way to the 5, where it'll be 3rd and 3. Tulloch with another tackle. You know, one of the bullet points I found particularly impressive about Matt Forte preparing this week, you know, since he entered the league in 08, there is nobody in the NFL that has more yards from scrimmage than him.
Yeah, and it's in part because he's so versatile. He catches the ball well in the backfield. He can split out as a wide receiver. As they prepare for this 3rd down, you got to be curious if they just play coverage and they force Jay Cutler to try to find a way and buy time and find an opening at some point in the Detroit Lions secondary.
They'll sprint him out on 3rd down. Pressure from the backside. Gets rid of it, and it's broken up by Lawson. And then intercepted. James Ahedebo got his hands under it after Lawson knocked it away.
Well, Nevin Lawson already coming up big in this game. The Detroit Lions end up playing soft coverage. Lawson with the deflection. Ahedebo with the interception.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by the all-new Fiat 500X crossover. Today's game is sponsored by Mobile Strike. Download and play now, free from the App Store.
James Ahedebo had 4 picks in his first year as a Lion last year. His first one this year comes in week 17 and ends a long Bears drive in the end zone.
It was a nice tip by Nevin Lawson. That's been a bright spot for Jay Cutler, cutting down the interceptions. It's only his 9th on the season. He threw 18 last season.
And he hasn't had a game where he's had multiple interceptions yet. First drive ends in 1. Bears bringing pressure on first down. It's picked up, so Stafford has time to drill one for Tate, who drops it.
Uncharacteristic drop for Golden Tate. He's really improved as a pass catcher. We talked about his background being a running back coming into college. Struggled a little bit early on in college, but since then has been one of the more sure-handed wide receivers when the ball is thrown his way.
Spent his first 4 seasons in Seattle, now in the second year of a 5-year deal in Detroit. Had such a huge year last year with Calvin Johnson banged up for a good part of the season. Numbers not quite what they were last year, but another productive year for number 15. On 2nd and 10, they look at Riddick and then come back the other way. Bears read the screen well, and Stafford takes the sack back at the 14. It's Christian Jones and Lamar Houston.
Well, the Detroit Lions were trying to set up a double screen. They're going to use Theo Riddick as a bit of a decoy. You're going to drop back, a little pump fake, and then they're trying to get Amir Abdullah, who's right here. He's caught up underneath, but there's nowhere to throw the football. Matt Stafford couldn't even throw it at his feet to throw the incompletion. That puts him in 3rd and long, but credit the Chicago Bears defensive front for continuing to track down Stafford.
They rush only 4 on 3rd down and 16. Stafford stepping up. Stafford going down. Sacked on back-to-back plays. This time it's Greg Scruggs, who was signed on Wednesday, Brady.
He's only been here for 4 days. They weren't even sure if he was going to be active or not. Scruggs at that nose tackle position. Spent some time with the Seattle Seahawks. Learned from one of the best defensive fronts in the NFL how to get after it and how to continue to pursue the quarterback even after he steps up in the pocket.
So back-to-back sacks by the Bears, forcing a punt from Sam Martin. Mark Mariani waits back on it. It's a good one. Retreats inside the 30. Mariani with some room and tripped up crossing the 45 with a flag down near midfield. The booming punt, 57 with a 16-yard return. We'll see what the penalty does to those numbers.
During the kick, personal foul, face mask, receiving team number 27. That 15-yard penalty will be enforced from the end of the kick. Chicago keeps the ball. Timeout.
So it's a net return of just 1 yard. Well, John Fox's offense with Jay Cutler leading the way. Had a nice drive the first time, but it ended with 0. Back to the field after this. Well, desperate times call for desperate measures, I guess. Bears have all 3 running backs in the game.
Look at these guys. Langford, Carey, Forte, they're all in it at this point. And if you're a defense, you're sitting there and saying to yourself, which one's going to get the ball? Which one am I going to have to adjust to? And none is in the backfield, so now they're all pass catchers.
It's an empty set with 1 receiver on the field. Carey moves into the backfield. Had 2 touchdowns last week and has room on his first carry today. The former Arizona Wildcat goes for 10. Second-year man, was a 4th-round pick last year. Had a receiving touchdown and a rushing touchdown, lined up at fullback a week ago.
Yeah, lined up at fullback, caught a pass for a touchdown, leaking out of the backfield. And when you put all 3 of these running backs in the game at one time, it forces the linebackers to be flexible. And they've got to be able to move outside in coverage, or they've got to be able to move back inside and adjust with the running back. So, again, just another example of the offensive coordinator, Adam Gase, putting a lot of pressure on the Detroit Lions defense.
He's already a hot commodity, Gase is, as far as potential head coaching openings, but tough task today to move this offense down the field. Chance to impress even more. On to the second. Lions scored a touchdown on their opening drive of the game. Bears took it inside the 10 on a 14-play drive, but Cutler was picked off on 3rd and goal. 10-yard gain to finish the first quarter. First down and 10 to the 25. All 3 running backs on the field for Cutler, and he finds the best pass catcher of the group, Matt Forte, one of the great pass catching running backs in a long time in the NFL.
Talked about his versatility, but it's also his football IQ. And just from sitting down with him, talking to him before the game, you can tell how intelligent he is as a football player. He's a student of the game. Really focuses on taking care of his body in the offseason. That's why he's been able to play 8 years with one team at the running back position, something that's seldom seen.
Of course, the big storyline around Chicago is whether or not the Bears will try to re-sign him with the emergence of Jeremy Langford and Kadeem Carey. It's been mostly Forte so far today. Gain of 3 makes it 3rd and 1.
And we'll see all 3 running backs mixed in throughout the game. We've already seen them all in the game at one point in time, but the Chicago Bears are going to have someone on the outside of wide receivers step up, whether that's Josh Bellamy or Mark Mariani. One of those guys is really going to have to step up and emerge as a go-to target on third down and in the red zone.
Option play, and Forte is hit in the backfield and dropped by Tahir Whitehead. And it's 4th down with the punt team coming out. You talk about creativity from Coach Gase, running a little speed option.
And that was all Tahir Whitehead, linebacker for the Detroit Lions, does a nice job of getting around Charles Leno to get to the outside and be able to cover down on his assignment, which is the pitch man versus the speed option. The Bears have shown that a little bit from time to time this season with Cutler, and it's been effective, but clearly the Detroit Lions were prepared for it.
First punt of the day for Patrick O'Donnell, who had one blocked last week, leading to a Buccaneers touchdown. Gets this one away. Golden Tate signals for a fair catch right at the 20-yard line. Matt Stafford and this Lions offense has been really good in the back half of the season. Back to the field when you come back. Those 5 completions for Matthew Stafford to 5 different receivers on the game's first drive that ended in a Tim Wright touchdown.
Matt Stafford's really been efficient, in particular the last 5 games of this season. Jim Bob Cooter helping Matt Stafford get the ball out of his hand quick and efficiently.
Fullback Burton in the game with Joyce Bell, who's had a quiet year after that breakout season last year. Here to the line of scrimmage here, 2nd down as we check in with Molly McGrath.
Joe, Lions right tackle Micah Ola is still on the bench. He's probable to return from a rib injury. And remember, Matthew Stafford stressed in order to be successful against the Bears, his offensive tackles need to have a great performance. And he was sacked twice in that last drive, so Ola's return will be crucial for the Lions, guys.
Thanks, Molly. Yeah, now the pressure's on number 77, big Cornelius Lucas. Guy's big as a house, 6'9", 330 pounds. See if he can hold up in pass protection.
K-State. On 2nd and 10. Stafford gets rid of it to Theo Riddick. Cuts it against the grain as he so often does and gets 3. So 3rd down and 7 for Detroit with a stop made by Christian Jones, Chicago's leading tackler. Riddick has become quite a weapon for this offense.
Yeah, he really has. You know, there was a lot of buzz coming out of the preseason about Amir Abdullah, but really a transition during that Week 6 game, this matchup earlier this season after Abdullah fumbled. Theo Riddick had a big game, and he started to earn himself more playing time, and he gets a ton of catches out of the backfield.
Play clock winding down. Stafford knows it. Gets it off. Bears bringing heat. Stafford lets it go for Ebron with a 1st down, but a flag down back around the line of scrimmage.
Matt Stafford utilizing that matchup of Corte on Eric Ebron.
Offsides, defense, penalty is declined. Result of the play is a first down.
Bears bring a mixture of pressure off the edge. Stafford hangs in tough, delivers an on-time, accurate football to the outside where Corte can't get it. Corte's a rookie out of Findlay, but he's really picked up his play recently. Just not quite, doesn't have the size advantage over a guy like Eric Ebron. Corte is only 5'11", 215 pounds. Ebron 6'4", 255.
Old Findlay Oiler, Division II school in Ohio. First down from the 31. Here comes Abdullah. One-on-one on the outside, shut down by Tracy Porter. Ball got ripped out after the whistle. Whistle had blown. This is coming back to where the play, the forward progress was stopped around the line of scrimmage.
Field is forward progress is stopped by the runner. Second down.
And Tracy Porter and the rest of the Chicago Bears defense that eventually ran to the football, they were waiting for Ameer Abdullah on the outside. A lot of times as a cornerback, you don't find those guys who are as aggressive in coming up making tackles in the run game, but Tracy Porter's an 8-year veteran out of Indiana. That's why he's been in the league for so long. He's been very effective, in particular because of that physicalness that he brings to the game off the edge.
With his 5th team in 5 years, had a pretty decent year here in his first season in Chicago. Second down and 10 from the 31. They have one-on-one for Calvin Johnson and go back shoulder, working against Porter for a first down up to midfield. Just about any time you get one-on-one, you're taking it with him.
And this is the matchup they utilized in the Week 6, and they're still utilizing it in this game. And as Calvin Johnson works to get to the outside, notice him look back for the football. Matt Stafford on the same page and throws the easy back shoulder. And talking with head coach John Fox, he wanted his defense not to allow any explosive or big plays, somewhat of a bend but don't break philosophy. So they're fine with Calvin Johnson making those catches, just as long as they're not the big ones downfield for a touchdown.
His second catch of the day, it went for 20. Stafford off play action, got rid of it to Ebron, who made a one-handed catch and stepped to the 45. Drops have been an issue for Ebron, but he plucked that one with one hand.
This little sidearm throw from Matt Stafford. Really the only way he could probably get it around Lamar Houston, bringing the pressure. And that's what makes him so impressive. People talk about arm talent with Matt Stafford all the time. It's because of his ability to change his arm angles and make those unique throws that you just don't see other quarterbacks make in the NFL.
He's completed above 80% of his passes the last 2 weeks. That's the best 2-game stretch in franchise history. This will help the completion percentage. Golden Tate breaking a couple of tackles and close to a Lions first down.
He's just so sudden. You know, they get the ball to him quick in space, and all of a sudden he goes from a start-stop, and it makes it so difficult for Chicago Bears defenders to really get a hand on him and to bring him down. He keeps his legs churning. He has that running back background in his back pocket. I think it's why he's been so successful as a returner, but also as a wide receiver.
And he does have a first down. Stafford on this drive now has completed all 5 of his throws. The last one to Golden Tate. Fake to Abdullah. Stafford pumps, lets it go. Calvin Johnson, jump ball and broken up. This time Tracy Porter wins the one-on-one battle. And it's 2nd and 10.
Well, they try to use a little double move. He's going to stop, little hitch and go on Tracy Porter to see if he's going to come up and get him. Tracy Porter's watching Matt Stafford the whole time, has enough cushion where he bit for a moment, but could still get back downfield to break up the pass from Calvin Johnson. And even as big as Calvin Johnson is, he still couldn't get to that football.
Theodore Riddick into the game, taking the carry. Into the teeth of the defense for a gain of 3. Let's check in with Kurt Menefee for a game break.
All right, if the Jets beat Buffalo, they're in the playoffs. But Buffalo's having none of that, at least not right now. Tyrod Taylor, nice 18-yard run. They're up 7-0. If the Jets lose and Pittsburgh wins, Pittsburgh's in. Pittsburgh leads Cleveland 7-3 right now. Joe, Braden?
All right, Kurt, Jets trying to get their 6th consecutive win, making a push towards the postseason. Here it's 3rd and 7 for Stafford and the Lions. Bears bringing heat. Stafford rolling. Ebron's got it and then lost it. Well, we said a minute ago, he's been known for drops over his first 2 years. Flashed the kind of athleticism and ability that he's got with that one-handed catch. This one's right on him and he drops it.
Yeah, and a little bit more competitive matchup for Eric Ebron. We talked about him matched up on Corte early on the 3rd down. This time Alan Ball, a little bit bigger defensive back at 6'2", 195, and he was able to get one of those long arms in on the football and break up the completion.
How about a 54-yard attempt for Matt Prater? It'd be a season long. Winding its way wide right and no good. Only his 2nd miss of the season. The Lions come up empty-handed on this drive. Bears offense back to the field after this.
Today's game is sponsored by Pizza Hut. Bring home the flavor only at Pizza Hut. By AT&T, mobilizing your world. And by Pepsi. Go behind the scenes of the Pepsi Super Bowl 50 halftime show only on Pepsi.com.
High of about 31 today. Cold at Soldier Field in Chicago as Prater misses from 54.
You talked to him before the game. You know, he felt like the wind was pushing, away from that end zone, kind of into his face, making it much more difficult to kick in that direction as opposed to the opposite end.
I think he had enough distance, just kind of faded right. A wobbler sent up there by him. Jeremy Langford's in on 1st down, taking the fake, and Cutler's taking the hit from Haloti Ngata. Devin Taylor was there as well, but it's a loss of 5 on 1st down. Television history will be made on January 17th when the first ever UFC title bout comes to FS1. Bantamweight champ TJ Dillashaw putting his belt on the line, taking on the former champ, the top-ranked contender Dominic Cruz. Plenty more as well, all beginning Sunday, January 17th, only on FS1. The injured Bear is Kyle Long. We'll take a break. Well, good to see during the break. Kyle Long stood up, walked under his own power.
Yeah, that'd be a big loss. He's at the right tackle position working against Devin Taylor, and as Haloti Ngata breaks through the line, you can see him slam into the back of Kyle Long's left leg.
So 2nd down and 15. Jeremy Langford with a gain of 2. Kyle Van Noy makes the tackle. 3rd down and long.
It's Kyle Long. Comes back into the game. Tremont Bushrod went in to replace him for a moment, but that right side of the offensive line has a little bit inconsistent this season for the Bears. Vladimir Dukas has started to settle in now at right guard, and Kyle Long starting to feel a little bit more confident in his ability at right tackle after moving around a bit this season.
Quickly back in the game for 3rd down and 12. Lions showing pressure. And bringing it. Cutler with a free man coming. Got rid of it. Mariani lets it fly by and Bellamy drops it. Coverage from Slay, and it's 4th down.
We talked about before, one of the wide receivers for the Chicago Bears having to step up and make plays. That's Josh Bellamy, one-on-one with Darius Slay on the outside, and Cutler's going to throw a ball. It's essentially a back shoulder fade. Bellamy doesn't come back quite enough, and Slay able to get a hand in on the football for the incompletion.
That drive started with a sack, put him behind the chains, leads to a punt from Patrick O'Donnell. With Golden Tate waiting back. Takes a nice bounce for O'Donnell and downed inside the 5 at the 1. Special teams have been a problem this year for the Bears, but not there.
Today's game is sponsored by Chevrolet. Find new roads.
For the Week 17, you've got all these playoff scenarios. Check in with the guys in the studio for a breakdown of one of them.
Look, TB, I'm telling you, it's really simple. If the Patriots win, they win home field throughout the playoffs. Now, the Colts can knock Houston out of the AFC South if Indianapolis wins and Houston loses, but then also the Falcons have to win. Ravens,
whoa, just a second. Whoa.
Bills, they got to win too.
No. America, I know you're confused as I am. Let's just talk about this at halftime.
Sounds like a plan to me.
Holy cow.
Kurt had it
This
down.
reminds me of General
I don't
Matt.
think we have enough time on TV to explain that scenario. Basically, the Colts need to win in every other team in the NFL if that was possible.
Lions backed into their own end after the O'Donnell punt. Joique Bell was the fullback, powers his way across the 5, keeps the legs churning, and gets him some breathing room. So we're near the 5-minute mark of this first half. Now, Lions' first drive, they look good. Look like they have in the second half of the season. Went 77 yards. Had a Tim Wright touchdown catch, but the last 2+ drives now, just 42 yards.
Matt Stafford's going to get back into a rhythm. That's one of the things that he said felt more confident in with Jim Bob Cooter being the quarterback coach, elevated to the offensive coordinator, is much more on the same page, kind of see the game very similar, considering Jim Bob was a quarterback at Tennessee in his college career.
Stafford against pressure on second down, has Golden Tate for a first down to the 15. Kyle Fuller with the tackle. Stafford continuing to be locked in, completing above 80% of his passes the last 2 weeks. Career best completion percentage overall this season.
And one of the things I talked about last season with him, before head coach Jim Caldwell got to the Detroit Lions, was wanting to prove himself to this regime again, working on his footwork, cutting down a little bit with his weight. And that's been something that I've noticed is he's had much better pocket movement throughout the course of this season, allowing himself to make better passes.
From the 16, Johnson hit right away by Fuller. And Calvin uses every bit of that 6'5" frame to reach for a couple of yards. Second down.
And a nice play by Kyle Fuller. Talked about him before. Best cornerback in this Chicago Bears defense. He's also got a brother on the Detroit Lions. He's not active today, and Corey Fuller. And from talking to Kyle before the game, if he was excited about the possibility of matching up against his brother, he said, no, not really. I mean, he was indifferent. I was like, you gotta be kidding me, man.
He almost was wondering why you were asking if any extra family was coming to town. Well,
holidays, the matchup, completely went over his head.
Over the top of Johnson again here on second down. Stafford play action. Got rid of it to Bell, who ran away from the defense for a first down to the 31. Christian Jones with the tackle after a 13-yard gain. Stafford took a blow there.
Yeah, he did, but he still was able to deliver an accurate ball that allowed Joique Bell to catch and run, something that's crucial when you're throwing to the running back position a lot of times because the coverage is going to be so tight, those short passes.
Bell comes out. Theo Riddick replaces him. 2.5 left in this first half. All 3 timeouts plus a 2-minute warning for the Lions. Stafford well protected, but the coverage downfield solid. Slides down, takes a hit, no flag. As he gets 1. It's second down and 9.
Well, he was looking towards Calvin Johnson again, working up top versus Tracy Porter. That's the matchup they're trying to work, and I thought he had him, but for whatever reason, Matthew Stafford felt spooked and tried to get outside the pocket and pick up whatever he could. But overall, good coverage by the Bears secondary.
Get apps, videos, and more at iTunes.com/NFL. Matt Stafford, 13 of 17 for 118 yards. A lot of those yards came on the first drive when he hit Tim Wright for a touchdown. Bears defense, which has improved a good amount in the first year under Vic Fangio, has clamped down since that opening drive.
30th last year in the NFL, 16th in total defense this year.
Out of the 2-minute warning, 2nd down and 9. Theo Riddick in a running back. Bears bringing only 4. Stafford throwing the slant. Golden Tate spinning free. And Tate has a first down to the 44. Greg Scruggs came from his defensive line spot to make the tackle. We've seen, what, 5, 6 broken tackles by him in this first half?
It's pretty typical. I mean, anytime he gets the ball in his hands in the open field, he's tough to bring down. His change of direction is incredible.
From the 44. Throws behind Johnson. Looked like it might have bounced in there, but they'll say that he got his hands under it for a first down.
And the throw is a bit off the mark because of the pressure. Christian Jones ended up getting a shot in on Matthew Stafford, had to pull the ball, throw the ball a little bit earlier than he wanted.
They hurry to the line and snap it before a challenge can come. Ebron at the 35. Let's see. That is an incredible catch.
It is. To be that size and be able to have that sort of body control is incredible.
On 2nd down, Stafford pulls it down, rolls out, looking for the sticks. Bryce Callahan angles him short. 3rd down, inside of a minute.
The Lions still have all 3 timeouts, so they've got plenty of time. You utilize anything they want in the playbook at this point. Jim Caldwell and talked about some of the changes in offense. He says it was somewhat dramatic earlier this week between the difference between Jim Bob Cooter and the way he likes to call a game versus Joe Lombardi.
3rd down and 3. Stafford incomplete. That pocket collapsing around him. Pressure from Pernell McPhee as we quickly check in with Mike Hill.
Once again, Jets win or Pittsburgh loss in New York's in the playoffs, but Buffalo not helping them out. Carlos Williams with the 2-yard score. Ensuing drive, Randy Bullock misses a 39-yard field goal for the Jets. 13-0 Bills in the second. Meanwhile, Steelers lead the Browns 7-3 in the second as well. Joe Brady, back to you.
All right, Mike, now you got to be dialed in on all those playoff scenarios today. 4th down and 3, and the Lions offense stays on the field. Stafford steps up, heaves one for Jackson and incomplete. Looked like he could have run for a first down, but instead lets it go and a turnover on downs. So at 2 timeouts, 38 ticks, the Bears get it back. Lions go for it on 4th down, don't get it. What'd you see?
Just like you did, I really thought Matthew Stafford had an opportunity to run for this first down. You can see the opening right here. I mean, just take it if you can. You know, he's focused downfield on Calvin Johnson. He's working against man-to-man coverage versus Kyle Fuller with the safety over top. Sometimes it's hard as a quarterback when you get locked in on your read to then feel that opening to be able to run for the first down. Now a big opportunity for the Chicago Bears. Possibly get a score going into halftime with 39 seconds and 2 timeouts. The ball at the 35. They've got enough of an opportunity going into the end zone they're heading into now with the way the wind's been in the stadium today to at least get a couple first downs and put themselves in a position for an opportunity at a field goal.
Only 93 yards of offense in this half for the Bears. Cutler is 6 of 8 for 39. Working with this patchwork group of receivers and tight ends.
And the biggest question is how many reps have these guys gotten with Jay Cutler running the 2-minute offense?
Can't be many. Of the active receivers, 3 went undrafted. 1 was drafted in the 7th round, all forced into action because of injuries. They bring pressure to the Lions on 1st down and get home to Cutler. It was Ziggy Ansah. 14.5 sacks on the season now. Just a half sack short of matching Robert Porche's franchise record.
30-second timeout.
Just an incredible athlete. So much upside for Ziggy Ansah, his ability to really get after opposing quarterbacks.
Don't forget to stick around at halftime. Kurt, Terry, Howie, Michael, and Jimmy take you through all those scenarios we've been talking about with Mike Hill and Kurt Menefee on Game Break so far today. The Colts barely alive. You heard Kurt trying to explain to Terry everything that needs to happen for them to get in. Take you through all the details of those scenarios at halftime.
Who's Mike? 59 Sam.
The Ansa sack has it 2nd and 13. Pressure again. Cutler lets it go. Pulled in by Mariani. Quandre Diggs can't get him down. First down inside the 45. 24 yards for the former Montana Grizzly.
We talked about this matchup coming in at the beginning of the game. Mark Mariani on Quandre Diggs at that nickelback position. Mariani got the best of that one.
Still have a timeout left. 23 seconds. Cutler a deep drop. Got rid of it. Intercepted. Tahir Whitehead using a stiff arm to flip the field and then some inside the 40. Whitehead's first interception of the season totally flips the script on the end of this first half.
And I think Ziggy Ansah got a hand on that football as Jay Cutler drew the ball back to release. It came out a bit wobbly. Ansah was working at the top of the screen there. You can see him hit Cutler's arm, and clearly the ball didn't come out the way he wanted to. Whitehead with a big interception. Now the Detroit Lions have good field position, 3 timeouts, and with 11 seconds left, you can get a couple plays in.
Yeah, you go from the Bears looking at cutting it down to probably a 7-3 game to the Lions trying to make it a 2-score game. First time this year that Cutler has been intercepted twice in a game. The Bears going to use their last timeout.
Charge timeout. Chicago. This will be a 30-second timeout.
And Prater already with 1 missed field goal today. You'd like to get up there a little bit closer, get a little more confidence if they're going to attempt at another one.
Now, Cutler came into the game as the only quarterback in the NFL that had made at least 10 starts and hadn't been intercepted twice in a game. And in the first half, it's happened twice. Once off a tip ball, and this time thanks to the pressure from Ansah.
In critical situations. Red zone, you're in a 2-minute drive. Both opportunities where you're possibly getting your chance for your team to score.
Lions trying to take advantage of Whitehead's interception. Stafford gets sacked back at the 49 by Lamar Houston, who's had a good day.
Lamar Houston was working one-on-one versus like the right guard in that case, Larry Warford. Or excuse me, Cornelius Lucas. He ends up running a little TE stunt. I mean, the tackle's going to go first. The end wraps back in around. That was Houston. Ends up being freed up as Lucas can't get back across to him in time. That's why they run those sorts of stunts or games on the offensive line. It's really hard once you get those offensive linemen on different levels to be able to pass off those guys as they crisscross in front of you.
Can't imagine it's a ton of fun being down there in the 20-degree weather to begin with, but 5 combined sacks. Can't be fun being a quarterback drilled in this weather. 2nd down and 20, knocks him well out of field goal range with 5 seconds. See if they try something quick or if they have one last heave. Stafford for Johnson, who stayed in bounds, but they have timeouts and use one. Do they give him a second? The stadium clock has run out.
Detroit. Will the clock operator please put on the game clock 1 second, please? 1 second on the game clock.
John Hussey adds a second to the clock. And the Lions having those timeouts available proves critical. So let's see, where do they have it spotted? Looks like the 40-yard line. Still going to be a long field goal.
Well, watch Matt Stafford. He looks out, looks at the coverage. He's going to point here because the Bears are bringing pressure. But this little signal, see that 3? That's going to be a little out route to Calvin Johnson. So he changes the route to allow Johnson to have an opportunity to catch the ball and possibly get out of bounds. Now, he didn't, but they end up calling the timeout, so it all works.
Did it all in 4 seconds. This is a 59-yarder. He's already missed from 54. This one is straight away. Ended off leg. Wow.
You know, and Matt Prater's got it in him. He's hit a 64-yarder during his time in Denver, but he wasn't in the altitude then. That's incredible.
Lions take advantage of Whitehead's interception in a 10-0 lead as we go to Kurt Menefee in Los Angeles for the Visa halftime, which starts now. Today's excitement is brought to you by Nissan. That was today's excitement, brought to you by Nissan. We welcome you back at Soldier Field, ready to start the second half with the Lions in front 10-0. And we welcome you back inside. Joe Davis with Brady Quinn. The story in that first half largely was Bears moved the ball some, but the 2 turnovers doomed it.
Yeah, the turnovers that Jay Cutler's been able to cut down on this season as opposed to last season. And really, offensive coordinator Adam Gase has made a concentrated effort this season of giving Jay Cutler easy answers, easy completions, and not putting their defense in a bad position. And that's something where I feel like Jay Cutler, you can see his frustration leaving the field before halftime. It's really been something he's been able to turn over so far in his career, because a lot of people have tried to kind of tame Jay Cutler and not, allow him to make those throws downfield and take chances. But he's done a good job so far this year, just not today.
Deontay Thompson will have a chance to bring this one out. Don Carey, the special team standout for the Lions, as the tackle. We check in with Molly McGrath.
Well, Joe, Jim Caldwell told me after the Lions' first drive, their offense has suffered because they aren't running the ball well. Right tackle Michael Ola has now been deemed questionable to return with a rib injury. Caldwell said that his O-line is doing well without him. They're holding up okay, but they need to avoid the pass rush by Chicago by getting the ball out on time. They have to fix some issues with their route running. John Fox happy with his defense. As you said, those turnovers really hurt them in the first half, guys.
All right, Molly, let's see if they can get the offense going. We'll have a chance right away. Starting the second half at the 17-yard line with a Matt Forte run. That's how they began the game, with a heavy load. The 8th-year man at a Tulane. That's his 10th carry, crossing 40 yards total for the day. And it's second down. Cutler 7 of 10 in that first half, working with his depleted receiving group. Mark Mariani led the way among the receivers with his 3 catches for 32. Second and 3. Back-to-back Forte runs. Stephen Tulloch gobbled him up. Close to the first down mark. Looks like he's just short. 3rd and less than 1.
John Fox talked about wanting to shorten the game, meaning he wanted to run the football and he wanted to try to play that bend but don't break strategy. But he felt that gave their team the best chance to stay close with all of the injuries and the lack of firepower on the outside of wide receiver. I mean, missing a guy like Alshon Jeffrey has really bogged down this offense throughout the course of this season.
No Alshon Jeffrey. Kevin White, their first-round pick, never played a game. Marquise Wilson was having a great year. He's out. Eddie Royals out today with illness. Forte again getting a first down. 3 plays, 3 Forte runs to start this second half.
And Grossuit centers out. Matt Slauson at left guard slid in to the center position. Vladimir Dukas, the right guard position. They've done a pretty good job inside working against Nada, but this is what we're talking about. Now, their win-loss record wouldn't reflect it, but as far as their offensive production goes, and this was what it looks like without Alshon Jeffrey versus with them. Clearly less production, clearly more pressure put on the running backs and the running game in particular.
Jeremy Langford only 1 carry in the first half. He's in the block on this first down throw to Josh Bellamy. His first catch of the day goes for 4 into the arms of Darius Slay. And it's 2nd and 6.
Bellamy, a wide receiver out of Louisville. Kind of bounced around a little bit in the league, even at positions. At one point in time, he was working at the cornerback position with Kansas City. kind of found a home here in Chicago.
KC, Washington, Chicago, mostly practice player squad over his first few seasons. Here's Langford. Short gain. Karan Reed, the tackle, 3rd down.
Jay Cutler, who hasn't had to do much on this drive. Got to just keep those hands warm in the pouch. I'll tell you, this time of year, those colder cities like Chicago, Cleveland, where I once was, it's the biggest key, trying to keep that hand from going numb. So you got a feeling on the ball. A lot of times the hand goes numb. You can't control the football as much when you're throwing it because you can't feel it come off your fingertips.
You know, sometimes a cold, hard ball can be as hard to throw as a wet ball.
Yeah.
3rd down and 3. Opening Bears drive of the second half. Cutler against a 4-man rush. Scans the field over the middle. Mariani, 4th catch of the day. 1st down up to the 40. On a 22-yard reception. Josh Bynes with the tackle as the Bears move into Detroit territory.
Well, credit the offensive line, giving Jay Cutler enough time to work throughout his progression. He's going to work the left side of the field first, nothing there, moves a little bit, and finds Mariani in the middle of the field wide open for the conversion on the 1st down.
Jay Cutler told us this weekend that Mariani's probably the most talented of the bunch they have active at receiver today, and he's shown it so far today. That one shut down. Carry for Jeremy Langford. Jamel Cudjoe makes the tackle. 2nd and 9.
When you talk about the difference in offensive style or system, Jay Cutler said, you know, Adam Gase's system is kind of this blend of things that he's had throughout his career, whether he was with Mike Martz, with the Lions and 49ers, or he was with Josh McDaniels, the Denver Broncos.
Double pass, but it was covered, and Mariani gets hit and dropped for a loss of 2. Whitehead, who had an interception in the 1st half, read it well.
Somewhat of a dead giveaway as Jay Cutler came under center. Mariani's going to motion across the field. Watch Nevin Lawson, though. Kind of comes up on Josh Bellamy, not fooled whatsoever, and Ahedebo was back in behind. Good job by the Detroit Lions defense.
So 3rd down and 12 after the trick play doesn't work. There's 4 for 7 on 3rd down.
How they load up this right side of the defensive line.
Cutler feeling the pressure, got rid of it, and found a man right at the sticks. It's Bellamy, and it depends on the spot, which it looks like is just short, with Quandre Diggs making the tackle.
We talked about the Detroit Lions loading up that right side. Look at 3-on-3. They want to try to utilize these one-on-one matchups to create pressure on Jay Cutler, but he's cool in the pocket, navigates it, slides around, makes the off-balance throw, and Bellamy makes the tough contested catch to at least give his team an opportunity for a field goal.
4th down and 1, they kick. You agree with that?
I think this early in the game, yeah.
Crowd didn't like it. Robbie Gould, normally so reliable, had a couple of key misses this year. This one's perfect, and the Bears are on the board with their first drive of the second half. It's 10-3 in Week 17.
Today's game is sponsored by Southwest. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. By Burger King. Now get 10 chicken nuggets for $1.49 only at BK. By Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. And by Bud Light, the official beer sponsor of the NFL.
Joe Davis, Brady Quinn, Molly McGrath. You liked that decision to kick. It paid off, at least for the time being, getting the Bears within a touchdown.
Yeah, look, the Bears have had opportunities in this game. Unfortunately, there's just been turnovers. I mean, we talked about the turnover earlier in the game in the red zone. Would have been an opportunity for at least 3 points, if not a touchdown. And on the 2-minute drive in plus territory, another interception. So it's not panic mode. They're only down 10 points, so kick a field goal, stay within a score, and continue to try to take care of the football.
Abdullah waits back on this goal kickoff. Number 1 in the NFL in average returns. with the Bears coverage team all over him here, and he's dropped at the 13 by Chris Brzezinski. Back to Chicago in a moment. The 172nd meeting between the Bears and Lions. Jim Caldwell went 11-5 in his first season in Detroit last year. 6-9 coming into this game. And up in the air what his future in Detroit will be as they go to Amir Abdullah on first down for a short gain. And at this point, the word is that they'll let the new GM decide whether or not to keep Caldwell. There have been some reports today that ownership supports Coach Caldwell, who's in his second season.
Yeah, but it's going to kind of fall on a consultant they're bringing in, Ernie Accorsi, who actually helped bring in head coach John Fox, as well as GM Ryan Pace here in Chicago. He's who Martha Ford and the Lions have hired to help them with their new GM search, and they'd like to have the input of their general manager, whoever they end up hiring. But kind of awkward that you've got the same guy helping out both teams.
One division. Stafford to throw on second down. Riddick out of the backfield, steps away from Timu, but not Bryce Callahan. And it's third down after a loss of a pair. Now, right now, the interim GM is Sheldon White. Spent with the team for a couple decades in different roles. He will get an interview for the job, but most people expect the hire to come from the outside.
Brian Sanders, another guy on their staff who's got some personnel experience back from his time with the Denver Broncos. He'd be another potential candidate that they would have in-house.
Worth noting, just to put a bow on Caldwell, with a win today, he'd have the best winning percentage in Lions history for a full-time coach since the merger in 1970. On third down and 10, a flag flies, and Bears defenders clap.
Full start. Offense number 71. 5-yard penalty. Third down.
You sense the momentum shifting.
And finally, the Bears are on the offensive. On defense, where they're trying to get some different looks, disguise some of their blitz packages, and put more pressure on this Detroit Lions offensive line. That for the most part of today, they've had a pretty balanced attack and done a good job of protecting Matt Stafford.
First Lions penalty makes it third down and 15. Only a three-man rush. Stafford throws incomplete. And Stafford paid the price in the end zone from Bruce Gaston's hit.
And that was a big hit as we watched Matthew Stafford kind of limp off the field. You know, he took a big hit last week. And Eli Harold for the San Francisco 49ers limped off again. At this point in time in the season, when you're a starting quarterback in the NFL, you're going to be feeling some bumps and bruises and a lot of pain just from a long season of a bunch of hits adding up.
He's so durable. 82nd consecutive start today. It's a short punt. Bears going to get great field position. Mark Mariani takes it to the 41. All Chicago to begin this second half, trying to finish the season with back-to-back wins.
Today's game is sponsored by the Ford F-150. Every other truck is history.
Final game of the season for these NFC North rivals. Jay Cutler efficient on the shorter throws with the depleted wide receiver and tight end group. And within a touchdown midway through the third quarter.
And obviously some of the shorter throws under 5 yards have been to the running backs. The one group that he's got experience with and has had time with this season throwing to them. So clearly a higher completion percentage in part because of the guys that he's thrown to.
A lot like last week. Pretty good completion percentage, but a low per completion average. Jeremy Langford. Nice first down gain of 4. Now the Lions were so impressive on that first drive, marching down the field. And Tim Wright with a touchdown catch to go up 7-0. Bears responded with a 14-play drive that ended like that on an ahead-of-bow interception. And with 1 second, Prater knocks through a 59-yarder to finish the first half before Gold's field goal starts the Bears scoring. Now their first drive of this half. This is the second drive, and it's the second Langford carry of this possession. Anza with the tackle, third and short.
So far this half, the Chicago Bears are doing a fine job of providing running lanes for the running backs, bring some movement up front. trying to work on that running average a bit, which they didn't rush for a ton in the first half, but their per average wasn't so bad, about 4 yards a carry, now up to 4.5.
Third down and 3 for the Bears. Lions bring only 4. Hansa bull rushing his way, but picked up. End zone shot. Touchdown, Joshua Bellamy. Beating Quandre Diggs. The Bears an extra point away from tying this game.
Well, this is the matchup Jay Cutler was working on. It's Quandre Diggs, the rookie nickelback, working versus Josh Bellamy. We talked about at the beginning of the game, someone's got to step up. Someone's got to make a play for the Bears wide receivers downfield, and Josh Bellamy is that guy, the most athletic of the 3 that they've got starting today. Showing off some of his hops, some of his athleticism, being able to come down with the football.
34-yarder for Bellamy. Longest play of the day for either side. Robbie Gould ties this game at 10. Scoreless in the first half. Scores on each of their first 2 drives in the second. Bellamy goes up and gets it. Jay Cutler gave Josh Bellamy a chance to go get it, and he did over Quandre Diggs for his second score of the season in a tie game.
Yeah, Cutler 4 for 4 since halftime, 71 yards and a touchdown, and really he's been crucial on third down, 3 for 4 since the half.
Abdullah from the goal line got shut down his last time. Better luck this time, crossing the 25. Josh Bellamy getting a chance because of all the injuries they've had at receiver. Taking advantage of it. Tie game. 2 of the 8 finalists for this year's Art Rooney Sportsmanship Award are in this game. Matt Forte of the Bears, Calvin Johnson of the Lions goes to the player who best exemplifies outstanding sportsmanship on the field. Each team nominates one guy in December, and then the winner will be decided on a vote of current players announced the NFL Awards banquet in February. There is Calvin Johnson lunging his way for a first down in the first yards of this third quarter for the Lions offense.
Yeah, Matthew Stafford trying to get into a rhythm now. Got to wonder if they're going to pick up their pace a little bit as they're huddling now, mixed in and out that no huddle system, then working back into the huddle. Matthew Stafford talked about liking to be in the no huddle system. It helps him kind of get into a rhythm quicker in games and stay in that rhythm.
From the 39, first down and 10. Joyke Bell behind Michael Burton. Made a nice cut in the hole to get by Fuller and get 4. Bruce Gaston with the stop. The former Wayne State star who had a breakout year last year. More than 800 yards, 7 touchdowns. Barely over 300 this year, though, as he's had to share the load with Abdullah and Riddick. And Reggie Bush for a couple of years were a really nice combo for the Lions. Now part of a 3-man running back group. Here's Abdullah with a counter play. Tripped up after 5 yards, close to a first down. So we check in with Mike Hill for a game break.
Bengals a chance to get a first-round bye in the playoffs, taking on the Baltimore Ravens. A.J. McCarron, A.J. Green, 5-yard score, 10th touchdown of the season for A.J. Green, 14-9 Bengals in the third. Guys, back to you.
All right, now they clinched first-round bye with a win and a Denver loss or tie. A.J. McCarron, what have you thought of the way he stepped in?
He's done a good job. I mean, he's giving A.J. Green a lot of opportunities to make plays. Tyler Eifert back for the Bengals as well, so that should help open up some things for the Bengals as they approach the playoffs.
From midfield, here's Theo Riddick. Not much room. Lamar Houston has had a good game in his season finale for the Bears. former Oakland Raider. In his second season in Chicago, missed most of last year with a knee injury that he suffered celebrating a sack, just like the Lions' Stephen Tulloch did a year ago.
I think players have outlawed that celebration since, just due to the possibility of an injury.
Right.
Hey, Louisiana, tag 53! Tag 53, Louisiana!
Stafford wants Johnson. Good coverage, Tracy Porter. Johnson wanted a flag, won't get it. And it's 3rd and 8.
Stafford wanted to change the play, check the route. And again, he's working on that one-on-one matchup with Johnson on Porter. Johnson kind of looked for it early and kind of slowed up, but not really much of an opportunity to get on that football. Now in 3rd and long at midfield, you wonder at some point if the Bears are going to try to apply a little bit more pressure just besides bringing their front four.
This is a spot where Stafford has liked to use Golden Tate and Theo Riddick. Bears showing pressure. They bring only 4. Still able to move him off his spot. Stafford runs for a first down inside the 40. He gets 13 yards with that pocket collapsing to extend the drive.
And this is the element of Matt Stafford's game that he's continued to improve on, is his ability to step up, move around in the pocket, and when he sees daylight, take advantage of that. And that happens because he's been such a good passer in this league for quite some time, where now teams allow them to force more guys in coverage and not necessarily as many trying to rush him.
Fresh set of downs from the 38. Amir Abdullah's back in at running back. And coming straight downhill for a gain of 2. And it's 2nd down and 8 after Houston gets another tackle.
Chicago Bears defense is really forcing the Lions offense to go the long, hard way to get into the end zone, to get in the red zone. The Lions offense has been so effective this season, leading the league in touchdown percentage once they get into the red zone.
Only one trip, though, and it came on that first drive where they capped it off with a Tim Wright touchdown catch. 2nd down and 8 from the 36. Stafford with time. One-on-one for Kelvin Johnson. Lays out, pulls it in. Touchdown Lions.
How could you get rid of this guy after all the production he's brought to the Detroit Lions throughout the course of his career? You got to find a way to keep him in Detroit, to keep this combination together at quarterback with Matthew Stafford and Calvin Johnson. That play was just one-on-one on Tracy Porter the entire way, and Johnson with the size and the speed to be able to extend to get the football for the touchdown in the end zone. Look at the extension.
Wow.
It's one thing to be that big. It's another thing to have that kind of body control at that size. Just a rare athlete at the wide receiver position.
You mentioned the contract situation. He's actually under contract through 2019. It's just the salary cap concerns. He carries a $24 million cap hit next year. There's some folks thinking that with the new GM coming in, they'll want to do some restructuring.
It's one-on-one. It's a go route downfield. Tracy Porter thinking, it's 3rd down. I'm going to sit around the sticks. And Johnson's able to blow right by him.
The cap hit goes down significantly a couple years from now, but last year it's hefty. But you got to think it's worth it.
No, there's no doubt. A guy at this point in time in his career, 9 years playing in the NFL, and still able to haul in a 1,000-yard receiving season. He's a mismatch nightmare for opposing defenses. We talked to John Fox about that, said, how would you feel if the Detroit Lions didn't have Calvin Johnson next season? He goes, I feel pretty good about it.
Yeah, here's the thing. If they don't have him, it's because they've released him.
Yeah.
Anybody could pick him up. They could find themselves playing him twice a year.
Oh, yeah, the Chicago Bears,
right.
Theoretically, if they had some of having Alshon Jeffrey where he wasn't back, where they could just substitute Calvin Johnson in for him. Imagine Kevin White and Calvin Johnson in a Bears uniform next season with Jay Cutler to throw to him.
It's his second 100-yard receiving game. Both have come against the Bears. Still a quarter plus left at Soldier Field in this season for the Lions and the Bears. Deontay Thompson coming out. It's a reverse for Bellamy. Don Carey brings him down to the 17-yard line. Big East play. Boy, it's been good. College hoops. 4 of the top 16 teams in the country reside in the Big East right now. Doubleheader on Wednesday. Villanova and Seton Hall. And then the number 6 team in the country, Xavier, travels to St. John's.
You just did an Xavier game the other night, didn't you?
Doing that one too.
There you go.
Yep, sandwiching in the trip here to Chicago. All starts at 7 Eastern on your home for Big East hoops.
Not without a trip
FS1
to Gibson's, right?
Oh yeah, got to. Ate way too much of that macadamia ice cream thing. Way too much. Felt poisoned after. Bears have scored on both drives in this half. Tied the game at 10 before Johnson's tie-breaking score. Cutler gets pulled down. It was C.J. Wilson who was claimed off of waivers in early November, getting his first sack on a Lions uniform. Third time today, Cutler's been sacked.
And Wilson, more of those run stoppers up front. You know, Elodie Nada, another guy, has been somewhat effective today who didn't play versus the Bears in the first matchup, but done a good job up front of being able to hold toe the line and allow the linebackers to play free, particular to here Whitehead, who's had a nice game today.
Hey, have
Steve! 10 men within 5 yards of the line of scrimmage on second down. They run a draw to Forte. Nice open field tackle by Stephen Tulloch to bring this third quarter to a close. 10th-year man out of NC State. Nice bounce back year for him after the knee injury. And a nice fourth quarter coming up. Be a fun way to finish this NFL season. Lions have not trailed in this game. Calvin Johnson's touchdown catch has them in front 17-10. We get ready to start this fourth quarter. Joe Davis, Brady Quinn. Looks like we got a pretty good finish coming.
Oh, a great game. And now it's up to the Bears to continue to try to build that momentum. They started really since the beginning of the second half. Jay Cutler's been in rhythm, and the running game's been working for them. So we'll see now if Cutler and the Bears can respond.
Starting this fourth quarter with a 3rd down and 8 against pressure. Got rid of it to Mariani for a first down, beating Darius Slay. And the toughness of Jay Cutler to stand in and let it go.
Yeah, the Lions are utilizing Ziggy Ansah, usually a rush end, but they're putting him more inside as he rushes the passer. And Cutler took a hit, but still was able to deliver the football. And Mariani with the nice catch to reach back across his body.
Came into the game with 16 catches on the season. He's got 5 today. For a guy that spent the first 4 seasons of his career as a return specialist. And Jay Cutler taking advantage of him being on the field at receiver. Perfect in this second half. He might have hit his hand in that last throw. You see him shaking it out. Only thing worse than hitting your hand in a helmet is hitting your hand in a helmet on a cold day.
That's one way of putting it.
First down, the 28. Cutler well protected. Time to take a shot. Deontay Thompson inside the 30.
There was one-on-one coverage on the outside. Deontay Thompson working on the rookie Quandre Diggs, and Cutler just throws it up, and he allows Thompson to utilize his speed. He's a kick returner as well for the Bears, in part because of that speed. It's only his 2nd catch on the season.
It goes for 32 yards, and they quickly get back to the ball and send Forte into the teeth of the defense. He had 1 catch for 36 coming into the game. Now he's got 1 for 32.
Big play wide receiver. What can you say? You give the guy some more opportunities.
Pretty darn good average. The fact that the Bears are not just in this game but driving to potentially tie it with the guys they got out there The receive throws from Jay Cutler. Credit to him, credit to Adam Gase, the coordinator. 2nd and 6. Forte motions out, takes the swing. Open field. Forte turns the corner. Blocked from Mariani. Touchdown for Forte.
First we see a big play by Calvin Johnson for the Detroit Lions. Now we see one by Matt Forte as he releases out into space. One-on-one coverage versus Stephen Tulloch. And once Tulloch's not able to reach him, Forte does the rest. And again, another guy who's going to be going into free agency after this season. You say to yourself, why?
Yeah.
Why let this guy go? He's been so productive over the course of the season. He's a leader on and off the field.
You know, he took kind of a hard line first time his contract was up, and you don't blame him for it, trying to make as much as he could. But he said at this point, all he's really looking for is, quote, respectful offer. I think that he'd be willing to hang around and share the load for a little bit less than he might take somewhere else.
Sounds like you're negotiating for him there, Joe.
Do I get like 5% then?
It's only 3%.
All right. Even that, I think I'll take it, no matter what he winds up getting. Mark Mariani delivers a nice block downfield. Credit to Cameron Meredith for a nice stalk block as well. Tie game again in Chicago.
Today's game is sponsored by Nissan. Innovation that excites. By Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. And by Colonel Sanders Kentucky Fried Chicken. It's still finger-licking good.
Well, for just a moment, I think Bears fans have forgotten about the preceding 6-9 season and are enjoying what has been an entertaining finale.
And that's what happens when you're able to open things up at the outside. The big catch by Thompson on the sideline forces defense to have to play back more and respect those wide receivers. And there lied the opening for Matt Forte to a little touchdown catch of his own.
Robbie Gould's kick. Amir Abdullah angling away, takes a knee. Well, the new Fox Tuesday is comedy's biggest night. Catch brand new episodes of New Girl, Grandfathered, Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and
The Grinder.
It all kicks off this Tuesday on Fox. We didn't even plan that.
Just happens.
Yep. Matt Stafford in the offense back out for Detroit. And the touchdown drive to begin the game. And a touchdown drive on their previous possession to Calvin Johnson. Stafford has to throw it into the ground. Wanted Ebron. Pressure came off of the edge from Harold Jones-Quartet.
And the blitz didn't allow Matt Stafford to have enough time to be able to throw the ball to the outside to Joique Bell and a little screen. Excuse me, a little tight end screen to Eric Ebron. Joique Bell comes over to pick him up at the last minute, but just not enough time to hold on to the football. And Stafford wisely threw the ball away.
Jones-Quartet said he lost his starting spot because of Calvin Johnson, and the Lions in the first meeting gave up a jump ball in overtime and set up the game-winning field goal for Detroit. Stafford underneath has the sure-handed Theo Riddick, who's close to a first down. We check in with Mike Hill for a game break.
Life after Chip Kelly going well so far for the Eagles. Carter Barwin tips the Manning pass. Walter Thurman gets it, takes it back 83 yards for the interception return. 28-27 Eagles. Giants still having those issues inside the red zone. Could be Tom Coughlin's last game as the coach of the Giants.
Tom Coughlin's last game. There'll be a lot of coordinators possibly up for that head coaching position. Adam Gase, offensive coordinator for the Bears, might be one of them, or defensive coordinator Terrell Austin, another name who's kind of been floating around as well.
Stafford a deep drop. Double clutches, slings it sidearm from Michael Burton, who stiff arms his way across the 35. Boy, Pernell McPhee was coming with bad intentions. Stafford saw him at the last moment.
Yeah, and it's amazing to watch Matthew Stafford be able to navigate through his reads, reading the field, but then all of a sudden just turn and sidearm sling that ball to Michael Burton in the flat. I mean, watch this, off his back leg, just flicks it with his wrist. You can see the arm strength, but also the accuracy for being in that funky of a position.
Yeah, seen it a couple times today. Him change that arm slot for completions. This one goes for 8 to the rookie fullback Burton. And on second down and 2, it's a fake on the end around and a screen for Bell, who slips off a defender. Drake Bell into the open field. First down inside the 30. It's a 37-yard screen pass from Stafford to Bell, and the Lions on the move in a tie game.
And that play was set up by all the misdirection. They faked the run to the right, they faked the end around, which froze the defense, and then allowed Joique Bell to navigate out in open space. And once he caught the football, he had a clear running lane downfield.
So the Lions quickly responding to the Bears game-tying touchdown drive as the snow starts to fall again. Abdullah for 5 yards. Sam Acho with the tackle. 2nd and 5. Lions have done a nice job utilizing all 3 backs today.
Yeah, they have. And one of the guys that comes in and helps pave the way for them is their fullback, Michael Burton. Nice job in that last play, kicking out the outside backer, allowing a running lane, and been big as well, catching the football out of the backfield. You know, it's seldom seen anymore to have a fullback who's capable of both lead blocking but also being a pass catcher.
Gave him 4, 2nd and 6. Out of an empty set with Riddick motioning out, drawing a linebacker. Stafford hits him. Riddick turns it upfield and sets up 1st and goal. He got Christian Jones, an inside backer, on him and took full advantage.
Well, they're going to motion Theo Riddick out into the open space. Jones is going to be on him in coverage, and Theo Riddick's going to call a jerk route because of that right there. He's a jerk. He leaves Jones behind in the dust, and that's what really makes Theo Riddick so effective once he catches the football, is his start-stop ability and change of direction.
More receiving yards, more receptions than any running back in a single season in franchise history. 1st down and goal. Calvin Johnson singled up to the top. Amir Abdullah downhill. Abdullah fighting his way to the 1. And reaching near the goal line, 2nd and goal.
If not for Pernell McPhee working on right tackle Cornelius Lucas, Abdullah is going to be able to get in the end zone. Nice effort by McPhee coming in, really adding that dimension to the Chicago Bears defense. A guy who can rush the passer, but also is very tough against the run. And they've got a number of those guys who've stepped up. Willie Young, Lamar Houston coming off the edge. All been very effective in the past few weeks.
They bring the biggest of their 3 backs, Joique Bell, in behind Michael Burton. Play action. Stafford back of the end zone. Touchdown. Eric Ebron to put the Lions back in front.
When that play caught everyone off guard on the Bears defense. I think when you're that close to the goal line, they figured they'd go ahead and just run the football on in, but the play action pass allowed Matt Stafford to have really either guy. It could have been Tim Wright, who was in the flat, or up top to Eric Ebron for the easy touchdown, easy score.
Figure I'll spread it out, right? I mean, he already hit Wright for 1. Now he finds Ebron. Raiders' extra point has not been a sure thing this year. He's missed 3 of them. He chooses to kick it from the left hash. That makes it 24-17. Eric Ebron, the 10th overall pick in last year's draft, has the touchdown to put Detroit back in front. Here's a nice trivia question you can impress your friends with. Lions are one of 5 trios now in NFL history to have 3 players with 80 or more receptions as Theo Riddick reaches that mark, joining last year's Bears with Marshall and Jeffrey and Forte.
And what a group. Look at who they're joining. The 2000 Rams, the greatest show on turf. The Saints back in 2011 with Graham, Colston, and Sproles. The Raiders in 2002. Brown, Gardner, and Rice. Good company.
Mark Mariani bringing this one out of the end zone. Mark Mariani waits for the blocks to develop. Mariani stayed on his feet across the 45. He's gotten the job done in several categories today. He's their leading receiver. He's had a big block, and now he has a big return.
Today's game is sponsored by Domino's. Order online and track your order.
Heck of a second half in this game. Matt Stafford and the Lions trying to complete a 6-2 second half after the 1-7 start. Bears are trying to finish the season with back-to-back wins in John Fox's first year. After the big return from the 47, it's Forte for 3, 2nd and 7.
It doesn't seem like much when you got a 6-9 record if you can get to 7-9. But ending the season on a win on a high note for either of these teams and being able to build off some of the momentum you've built, sometimes because something that's pretty huge for the culture of your team moving into the offseason.
Of course, there's a whole other angle to that, which is the loser will get better draft position. It could swing a wide amount of picks. Anywhere from 9th to 18th, these two teams will pick. Cutler drills one for Hausler. On time and on target, first down inside the 40. Don't tell that to these players, though. Anything to do with the draft positioning.
Yeah, they don't want to hear any of that noise. And a lot of these guys, too, in particular guys who are playing today for the injured players and the wide receiver group are playing for their jobs, whether on this team or somewhere else. They're trying to put this good film or tape on their resume so they can remain in the league. It looked like a guy like Josh Bellamy in particular has moved around a bit.
And a flag flies. All kinds of movement up front. All kinds of pointing going on after it.
Neutral zone infraction. Defense number 94. 5-yard penalty. First down.
It's a Pro Bowler, Ziggy Ansah.
Credit Charles Leno, the left tackle, for wisely showing that he drew him to a false start. It wasn't a false start, but Cadence helped get Ansah offsides, and that's one of the things you're going to use as a quarterback in your toolbox when you're working versus a guy like Ziggy Ansah. Try to use that cadence, use all you can to keep him on his heels.
They fake the bubble. Cutler looking over the middle. He's got Mariani. He's got a first down to the 16. And he started this second half a perfect 9 for 9.
Nice play design. They're going to fake a little screen. Mariani's going to release down the middle of the field. He makes a nice adjustment. He's not there early in the seam, but then he curls the route into that window in the zone coverage for the completion.
They again fake short and throw long. End zone, incomplete. Meredith, the intended receiver, with Lawson chasing him. Second down.
Meredith has good size. It's something that I've seen Jay Cutler utilize when they get into the red zone in previous years with Brandon Marshall. This year with Alshon Jeffrey. Well, he doesn't have either of those guys anymore. So they're trying to use whatever height advantage they can and size advantage. So Meredith is that guy standing at 6'3". Cutler's trying to throw up some high balls, give him a chance to elevate and catch the football.
On second down at 10. Fake to Forte. Sets up in the pocket. Devin Taylor chases him and brings him down with the help of Nada. Got back to the line of scrimmage, but it'll be third and long.
Yeah, Matt Forte did all he could. He was one-on-one trying to block Devin Taylor here on the outside. He tries to chop him down, but Taylor was athletic enough to get around him and continue to pursue Cutler, and along with Haloti Ngata, get through for the sack.
Bears are 4 of 5 on third down in this half. Inside of 6 minutes, looking at third and 10.
None more critical than right now.
So critical, the Lions want to take a timeout.
First charge timeout, Detroit. This will be a 30-second timeout.
You know, given the scenario, this is a big third down. You got to wonder with 5:48 left if John Fox would just take the points. If they don't convert, he probably would go that route. But if you're Jay Cutler, you're thinking, who's my guy that I can work to? Who's going to win that one-on-one matchup? And you got to wonder who he feels confident at this point. Is it Josh Bellamy? Is it Mark Mariani, who's had a nice game so far, leading them in wide receiver right now? Or is it going to be someone out of the backfield at running back?
And Mariani, like you mentioned, the leading receiver was 6 for 80 yards. Forte a touchdown catch out of the backfield on the last drive, but he'll be part of an empty set on 3rd and 10.
There's Matt Forte in the slot. I wonder if they're going to work to him possibly.
Lions showing heat. Cutler making a change. Big 3rd down and 10. Has him rolling to his right, throwing over the middle and incomplete with no flag. Mariani upset that there was no flag. It's 4th down and the field goal team comes out.
Well, Jay Cutler tried to change that play. Mariani communicated it outside to Meredith, but they got tangled up as Cutler rolled out and tried to find him downfield. He had Matt Forte in the flat, but it might not have been enough for the conversion for a 1st down.
So after completing his first 8 passes of this half, misfires on back-to-back throws, and it's Gold from 34. He's good from 39 already today. And he's 2 for 2. 6 for his last 6 going back to last week. Mark Mariani's had a good day, career day, but frustration on that last play.
Yeah, frustration, I think, in part because he felt like he got tangled up a bit with a defender. Maybe could have been a possible defensive holding or PI, but it looked like there may have been a miscommunication, too, with Cameron Meredith as far as what route they were both supposed to run. Kind of knocked into each other. And again, that's a lot of times what happens. You've got 2 guys who are as inexperienced at wide receiver as these 2 are for the Bears this year.
There's a 104-yard return, but no touchdowns. He got tackled at the 1-yard line. And that 104-yarder lets this one die at the goal line. Late decision to pick it up. Flag flies, and the Lions are going to be back inside their own 5. Just like he meant to do. It's like an approach shot.
The backspin of that
thing. Pin.
Checked right up.
Block in the back, receiving team number 85. Half the distance to the goal, 1st down.
Derek Ebron coming up next. America's Game of the Week. Big time implications right here on Fox when we finish. You'll have one of these games. Seahawks, Cardinals, Raiders, Chiefs, Buccaneers, Panthers. Panthers and Cardinals both looking for home field advantage.
Battling through for that number 1 seed in the NFC and trying to make the path of the playoffs go through one of those 2's hometown. But now you've got the Bears in good field position. This defense needs to step up. They've given up 152 yards to the Lions this half. And the Lions have scored in the last 2 possessions. It's time to step up.
Stafford out of his own end zone as Calvin Johnson, who bullies his way through the tackle of Porter for a 1st down and cushion.
They brought Jones Corte off the edge, but look at the cushion. Look at all the space that Calvin Johnson has to work with on Tracy Porter. You had the offense backed up. You had them in a position where you really felt like you could kind of get after them. But after that easy completion and a 1st down, now the Lions got some breathing room.
Quiets a crowd down, which had really come alive. Much easier to communicate for Stafford, who goes under center for 1st down from the 15. Here comes Joique Bell. Trying to get the corner. Flag down as he's ridden out of bounds by Fuller. And there's some movement back inside the 10 again.
Looks like it's going to be a holding either on Riley Reeve or Bear Pasco. One of the 2 on that left side.
Holding. Offense number 80. Half the distance to the goal. 1st down.
It was Pasco, former Bear.
Pasco is going to come down and hold DeAnthony Smith as they try to run the stretch play to the left side. Joique Bell bounces outside, and Pasco, well, I guess Smith takes Pasco with him to the ground, but in part because of Pasco had his hands locked around him.
First down and 17. Johnson the crosser. Submarine by Callahan after a gain of about 4. And it's second down, nearing 4.5 minutes in a 4-point game.
The Lions are trying to take their time now and utilize the clock, take as much time as they can. They slowly begin to operate into that 4-minute mode, where Matt Stafford's going to try to let that play clock work down and shorten the game.
27-36 for him today. Calvin Johnson's been his favorite target, 9 catches. We're behind the chains because of the penalty. Second down and 13. Just barely got it off. Stafford double clutches. Pumps again. Sets his feet. Zips one long and incomplete for TJ Jones. And it's third down and 13.
With a motion Theo Riddick out of the backfield, he was matched up one-on-one with John Timu, trying to work that jerk route like we talked about before. But Timu had pretty nice coverage and actually caused Matthew Stafford to pump fake twice, not able to get him the football. Good coverage downfield by the Bears secondary, not really much to throw to.
Pressure coming. Stafford steps away, maintains balance, turns the shoulders and throws it out of bounds. It's fourth down. Gaston with the pressure.
But it was Pernell McPhee early that caused Matthew Stafford to exit the pocket and cut the field in half. And it was Bruce Gaskin at the end, applying enough pressure to force Stafford to throw the football away. Big time stop by the Bears defense.
And thanks to the special teams effort from O'Donnell dropping it down there. Chance to get great field position for the Bears. High snap pulled down. Sam Martin sends away a good one. Mariani a fair catch at the 42 on a 45-yard punt near his own goal line.
Mariani had some room there.
Yeah, makes a safe play, takes the fair catch. The Bears will start at the 43-yard line after a nice stand by this Bears defense. It's made nice strides in John Fox's first year as head coach. But now it falls on Jay Cutler, who has 18 career game-winning fourth quarter drives, 4 of them this year, and 3 in his career against the Lions.
Plenty of time, 3:35 on the clock and 3 timeouts.
16 of 21 on the day, hands it off to Forte, who stopped by Whitehead after a short gain. Is this one of the final drives of Matt Forte's Bears career?
You look at how many games the Bears have been in and been close this season. It's pretty remarkable considering the turnover on this roster. 17 guys from last year's 53-man roster on the team this season.
That's the fewest in the NFL. Second down, they swing at the Forte. Tullett pursuing, pulls him down by the shoe tops. Not a gain of 4 to be third down after we check in with Curt Menefee.
Well, you know the scenario when the Jets get into the playoffs. They trailed all day at Buffalo, and then they blew their chance to take the lead. Leotis McKelvin picks off Ryan Fitzpatrick. It's still 19-17 Bills, and it's getting late in the fourth quarter, Joe.
All right, what a finish they have coming in that one, Curt. Good finish coming in this one as well. 2.5 left, third and 3 for the Bears. Forte, big hole, first down, and more inside the 40. 13-yard run for Forte.
Well, there's a huge hole on the left-hand side because the Lions bring a little pressure off this edge. And Forte's going to just find himself with a lot of running room. Too much for a guy who's that effective getting the ball downfield.
76 yards for him.
This is the 2-minute warning.
On his 17 carries today. 2-minute warning. Don't go away.
Today's game is sponsored by Visa Checkout, the easier way to pay online. Sign up now.
State Farm Game Break Show coming up as soon as we finish. And some strategy falling on Jim Caldwell here in the final 2 minutes. He figured the Bears are going to keep it on the ground as much as they want. How does Coach Caldwell use those 2 timeouts?
The Bears kind of have to keep it on the ground at times because in the passing game, they don't have too many guys that they feel that confident in making the big catches in a crucial time in the game.
First down and 10, and Cutler looks to throw. Pressured by Ansah. Got rid of it. Floats up and intercepted by Glover Quinn. Playing in his 100th consecutive game. And once again, the pressure came from the Pro Bowler Ansah. And now the teams start to get together with Ansah and Cutler having words.
A lot of frustration for Jay Cutler. Obviously, the pressure from Ziggy Ansah played a factor in him not being able to get his body into the throw. The ball there floated up in the air, and Glover Quinn able to come up with the easy interception. Cutler's 3rd of the day. Clearly, Jay Cutler frustrated after a season of really being diligent, working hard to take care of the football. And when you go back and look at the interceptions today, one off of a tip pass, one off his arm getting hit as he goes to throw, and this one as he's throwing getting hit. Case in point, you don't necessarily know what words are being exchanged. I can promise you this, though, and nothing very, very friendly is going on right there.
Ansah, what a game. Might not show up in the bottom line stat department. I think he's got 1 sack total, but he's hurried Cutler several times, and like you mentioned, forced a couple of poor throws that were picked off.
Just the upside of that guy. I mean, he's only been playing football since 2010. He's got a ton of speed. I think he ran like a 10.9 in the 100 meters, something ridiculous like that. So he's only going to get better and better as a rush end.
That interception came from Glover Quinn. And what a way to celebrate his 100th consecutive start with an interception. But the Bears still with all 3 timeouts and 1:51 to go. So shame on those folks already headed for the exits. This one's not over. Flip it outside. It's Abdullah. Staying in bounds, forcing the Bears to use their first timeout.
Abdullah, who's had some issues taking care of the football at times. He's got to be conscious of taking care of it, and you better believe the Bears defense is going to be coming after it.
Be on the ground here, but Matt Stafford through the air today, 27 of 38, 292, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions.
Yeah, very efficient. I mean, and this is what we've seen through Matt Stafford. In particular, the last 5 weeks of the season been red hot. I'm going to put his stats on top of what he's done. That's 17 touchdown passes to only 1 interception, including today.
On the other side, 3 interceptions thrown by Cutler, and that right now the difference. All 3 of those interceptions were thrown in Lions territory. On second down, play action. Stafford rolling. Jones Quartet pulls him down. And the Bears will use their second timeout.
Well, people may have questioned Jim Caldwell for his ability to use timeouts in certain situations, but right now you got to think you got to run the football and play the field position battle, knowing that the Bears passing game has struggled because of the fact they don't have their main wide receivers and tight ends. And there's been a lot of pressure on Jay Cutler today that have forced those interceptions. So I'm not exactly sure why the Lions weren't running the football to take more time off the clock and force the Bears to use their timeouts.
Do you put any thought into throwing it here on third down and about 5?
I mean, at this point, the Bears still have 1 timeout left. I would think about it, but even then, they're just going to call a timeout. Even though they lose the last one, they're still going to have plenty of time left. You almost have to pass now.
Yeah, and it's their pass-catching running back, Theo Riddick, in there. It's usually a dead giveaway. And they will throw underneath Calvin Johnson. First down Lions to the 44, and that should just about do it. His 10th catch of the day might be the sealer.
Well, just one-on-one coverage outside. Calvin Johnson's going to run what's called an under route. He's going to push up and leave Tracy Porter in the dust for the conversion and the first down, and that's your ball game.
And if this is Calvin Johnson's final game in a Lions uniform, which only makes a small amount of sense, that were to be the case. But what a way it was to finish. 10 catches, 137.
And look at his production versus the Chicago Bears going back the past 4 games. It's been outstanding, so I'm sure there'd be no one happier than the Bears organization or fans if he wasn't a Detroit Lion next season.
The Lions will kneel on it. Bears out of timeouts. And barring a monster mistake, which is not beyond the Lions, they will complete a 6-2 second half after the 1-7 start. They saw wholesale changes with the offensive coordinators, some offensive assistants, the GM, the president.
Yeah, and this type of improvement like we've seen from the Lions in the second half of the season after those changes, it builds that sort of momentum that makes you think maybe the ownership in Detroit will want to keep Jim Caldwell, will want to keep building off of some of the changes they have made, in particular at offensive coordinator with Jim Bob Cooter and the job he's done.
Whatever your personal thoughts are on Jim Caldwell, the bottom line is he's 18-14 in his 2 seasons. Nobody's ever had that good of a winning percentage as a full-time coach of the Detroit Lions. And you understand that it's a what have you done for me lately kind of thing, but if you look at it with a little more narrow vision, lately he's gone 6-2, like you said, to finish with a respectable 7-9 record. When we finish here, bonus coverage coming up of Eagles and Giants. Who knows if the clock's ticking out on Caldwell's time in Detroit? Who knows?